Give me something to talk about. Talk about Sunday NFL Sniffs. As you can tell, I was in orchestra in high school, wasn't in the choir. They forced us to take one of 3 music choices. What a scam that was. Not the best voice in the world. My shower would even tell me to shut up if I start singing. But I got a lot to sing about today. A lot of Sunday NFL Sniffs on the slate where I said, hey, if you're looking at a primetime game, ask yourself, would you bet these if it was Sunday in the midst of all the games? And I said that about that Packers game, and it played out just that way. We hit some sniffs, we missed some sniffs, but at the end of the day, you took all the bets in the video, you were up $12. And that's the one thing that the baseball show, the I Hate Baseball show, I'm thankful for, is that it allowed me to introduce a method of betting where I can put all the bets out there for you and I can list the results, every single bet that you see, as you saw in the screenshots of the bets. I just rolled it from I Hate Baseball right into the NFL videos. Every single bet that you see that I give, whether it's a minus 125 or a plus 1,000 like the parlay we hit, every bet's to win $100. Minus 114, it's 114 to win 100. Plus 1,000, we risk 10 to win 100. And on Thursday, we went was $900. Every single bet that we put hit. Friday, we ended up $12. So where you can look, oh my God, Andy, but I lost because I parlayed everything together. Yes, that's why I'm going to put that there. So A, you learn your lesson about, the perils of parlays. If you live the pirate's life, there are perils. Sometimes there are jewels, but most times there is a lot of peril. I mean, you've seen pirate movies. How many times do they win in the end? Arr. And another great reason is that I can play Gargoyle Defense, where the Gargoyles at some point in the season be like, man, I just bet everything on this channel and I win. Yeah? Now you're going to see the totals. You're going to see if you took every single bet, just like the baseball show, you would have ended up with $2,000 or something by the end of the summer. Now you can track it. Up 9-12 after 2 days. I can probably fully lose all these and I'll still be in the plus money. Gargoyles aren't going to have that excuse this year. And that's how I live my life. I told you, it's whether I talked about it on my comedy podcast or I talked with Josh, my whole life is screw job, prevent defense. I know the orcs, the gargoyles are going to start screaming from the mountains of Mordor if there's a bad day. And now I'm just going to point, because every single day, just like the baseball videos, check the description of the video and it will have how the bets went from the previous video. Go ahead, send it to Erwin R. Scheister for an audit. We will see how it goes by the end of the year. That's what life is, as Cersei Lannister says. Ripping out roots one at a time before they grow long enough to choke you in your sleep. That's what I have to do for the Gargoyles. So with that said, let's go on to some of my favorite Sunday NFL Sniffs. Some of these I talked about yesterday on a Dave and a Dan. Now, I want you to check that out, but just know this week and next week, I didn't have my guy Alex, who is operating the board and pulling up stuff, so I kind of had to wing it a little bit. So this week and next week, just bear with it, and then it will be cleaner by week 3. But we talked about a couple of the things I'm going to bring up today. The first being Devin Singletary. Now, these last 2 nights, whether it was Justice Hill easily hitting the over 7.5 receiving yards on opening night, and then for the people on the Patreon before the game yesterday, I don't think he was listed early, I saw Kenneth Gainwell, BetMGM, over 3.5 receiving yards. Another scat back who is familiar with that offense. You knew even if Barkley was going to have a workhorse role, he would have at least 1 2-minute drill or a drive here and there. He had 10 or so receiving yards, hit that one. I swear to you, this whole year, the defining characteristic about this channel with NFL videos, the guy found another running back in single-digit totals, and he hit it on 1 catch. That's going to be one of the many things I'm known for here, and we're going to start with Devin Singletary on that front. The New York Giants are replacing Saquon Barkley's role, not by a running back by committee. No, they didn't bring in Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins like they did in L.A. No, you're getting Devin Singletary, and then he's sporadically going to be spelled every once in a while in the same fashion that you saw Josh Jacobs get spelled by the 4th stringer last night. You're getting workhorse Devin Singletary in a game That's within 2 points on the spread, which means it's going to be close. And if you looked at every single game that Daniel Jones played last year, whether Saquon was in, Saquon was injured, the running backs had a minimum of 3 catches in all those games. Whether it's drawn up that way or there's a lack of skill position players, 9.5 receiving yards. Yeah, Ferris Bueller's talk. 9.5? 9.5 for a guy who's going to be out there pretty much the majority of the time. It's just a name that people don't find pretty, you know? Oh, McCaffrey, he's an every snap player. Look at Barkley, played 78% of this. Oh, Devin Singletary. Yes, in this offense, he should be out there nearly all the time. He has acumen as a receiver. He has no problem catching the ball. This is not like a stone hands player. Give me Singletary over 9.5 receiving yards against the Minnesota Vikings. Then moving on from there, because there will be more running backs with low totals, but instead I'm going to go with a running back with an extremely fair total in the rushing department, and that's my flag plant player of the year. If I'm planting the flag, I can't say, no, but it's going to happen later on. No, it's going to happen right away, and that's old Jimmy Cook over 58.5 rushing yards I saw on Bet Rivers, Ballybet, Unibet, Canby, that whole series. 58.5. Now, if you've watched the Bills the last 5 years, oh, come on, Andy. They throw it all the time. The running backs, they never get high total. No, if you watched the last 5 years, they've done that for 4.5 years because, as I mentioned, halfway through the season when the Bills fired their offensive coordinator, nobody ran it like them. They ran and ran and ran and ran. So who are they going to be running against? It's going to be a stout front seven? Great defense? No, the Arizona Cardinals, who... my guy, the Chalker-Roach, Kyron Williams, a little scat back himself, ran for about $150 on them twice last year. This is a dismal running defense, and you have an offense that continually runs. I mean, I like the rushing attempts. I like all these little other props that I saw in there. James Cook versus James Conner, a battle of the James. And it's like a 5.5 yard spread. I saw that one on DraftKings, but the James Cook over 58.5 rushing yards, that's something that I absolutely love. And the alts on DraftKings, like the 64.5 to 73.5, they offered great prices as well. I mean, these are fantastic numbers that are probably going to change down the road. Like, you're going to see, what do you think Justice Hill receiving yards are going to be next week? If you can sniff ahead of time, you are always rewarded, and that's what I'm trying to do here. But this isn't just out of the blue. We saw how they utilized James Cook after they changed offensive coordinators. I'm simply looking for a continuation of that. Not going to take anybody by surprise, at least not going to take me by surprise. So give me that James Cook over 58.5 rushing yards. Oh, is that just too many running backs for you? Do you need a little break? Do you need like an intermission in the middle of a play to get a little wide receiver sniffing? All right, well then why don't we go down there to Miami? We go to Miami to go up to Jacksonville to take a bet to go back down to the game in Miami. A little bit of Christian Kirk, who I talked about yesterday on a Dave and a Dan.
Hi, Dan.
Who's going to be facing the Miami Dolphins in what's supposed to be a very high-scoring affair. And we know that Christian Kirk, I just love relatively low totals on receivers who have a well-established connection with their quarterback. Rashee Rice, Patrick Mahomes, looks to him. You have Xavier Worthy, you just kind of got to hope at the end he finds him on a long one, and whew, thank God. I want the guy that's going to be more peppered. I don't know how Gabe Davis looks in that offense. I don't know how Brian Thomas looks in that offense. I don't know how their snaps are going to be set up. Maybe it will mimic the preseason. Maybe it won't. But one thing I absolutely do know, after watching Kirk in that offense for 2 seasons, he has 100% of Trevor Lawrence's trust. He has like Jennifer Lawrence, if you have my love and I gave you all my trust, will you throw to me? Yes, he will. He will throw to Christian Kirk, which is why I'm happily taking his over in that game against the Miami Dolphins, which should be somewhat of a shootout there. So give me the over on Christian Kirk receiving yards. All right, now that we had a little wide receiver bet, how about we go right back to those scat backs? And I mentioned this at the end of a Dave and a Dan, and this is Tony Pollard in Tennessee. They got rid of Derrick Henry. They brought in Tony Pollard. A lot of people are wondering what the split is going to be between Pollard and Spears. One thing that we can anticipate, and we've been told, is that this is going to be a throwing offense. And if you look at all the moves that they made, that was bringing in Tony Pollard as your primary running back, a guy who was originally Zeke's kind of third down replacement. He was the scat back there. And now he's going to be the primary running back. They have Tajay Spears, who's a great receiver. They're going to be chucking it. And in the preseason, we saw that Tony Pollard had 2 catches, 20 yards, 3 He's clearly going to be used as a receiver, and that's part of the game plan. Once again, single digits, 9.5 receiving yards. If this was last year, he was on Dallas, this number would be at 14.5 or something of that nature. I think the 9.5 is a great number in this spot. Over 9.5 receiving yards for old Tony Pollard. And you know, I always have a little extra love for a Tony around here. We put in a bet for Jimmy Cook. He's facing off against Jimmy Connor. How about we check in on old Jimmy Harbaugh down there in Los Angeles? And everybody expects, just because Harbaugh's, they're going to run it 80% of the time. It's run after run after run after run. There's going to be no throwing, despite the fact you have one of the best arm talents and quarterbacks in the entire NFL. I see another great deal of a pre-established connection that we've seen in the past. We can look back to and know, they have chemistry, and he will have his certain amount of looks within that system. Remember, no Mike Williams, no Keenan Allen, no Gerald Everett. They're all gone, except one guy who performed admirably in most of their absences, and we're getting an extremely fair total on him. It's probably starting to moonwalk up, and that is Joshua Palmer. I'm going to go with the over on his receiving yards against the Raiders. This might be a crusty defensive battle. Herbert is such a good quarterback. Even if you don't think he's good, you know that he can wing it. You're talking about just 2 or 3 catches. All right, how about this? How many yards is Justin Herbert going to have? Is he going to have 200? Which would be considered, oh, wow, what a low total. How's he getting to 200? Can you even name me other players? It's going to be this is a classic Andy. This is an Andy versus Donkey. I believe the Andys are taking Josh Palmer. I believe the Donkeys are taking McConkey, which sounds enough like Donkey that it actually makes sense. So the Andys are on Palmer, Donkey's on McConkey. What a funny sounding name. And let's see which one wins out. But I'm absolutely going with Josh Palmer in this game against the Las Vegas Raiders of Oakland. And then Breakfast Club Stout. You want another one?
No. That's another one.
One more scat back with a relatively low total in an offense where we know that he'll be seeing some receiving opportunities. And that is I brought him up to you guys last year. We always had to find him in the last minute. They added him last minute the same way they added Kenny Gainwell last minute. But this year, he's actually on those lines and available to see because he'll probably have somewhat of a bigger role. Who are you talking about? Jaleel, the Thrill McLaughlin. And he's going to be the third down back. Remember, Pirine, who just got released and the Chiefs scooped up, he had like 60 catches. He had like 50 or 60 catches. And then McLaughlin was already a receiving back at that time. So McLaughlin had a fair amount of receptions once he came on. So now if you remove the entire third down back and you give that whole role, because Pirine was like a third down back and 2-minute drill guy, now you give that whole role to McLaughlin. In a Sean Payton offense, go look at how his running backs play and how often they get. I mean, Kamara is the best example. Obviously, you can't just say somebody's Alvin Kamara. But when you combine no Pirine, the Sean Payton offense, and then the fact that Bo Nix, I hate college, I didn't watch him a ton, has a reputation of being like a check down specialist. I mean, this should be a slam dunk. 11.5, 12.5 receiving yard total. Give me the over on Jaleel, I like saying the Thrill McLaughlin. And it's not going to be a day unless I have to for the people, Bane style. The same way he goes, for you, the people. You guys want the same game parlay or the pirate parlay? Let me smack you guys with a pirate parlay. I'm going to use some of these players that I gave you today and just slightly bump some of their totals, and ones that I'm really feeling, bump them even more. I'm going with Devin Singletary, 3 receptions, the alt receiving total for Christian Kirk, the alt receiving total for Josh Palmer, and the 4 catches for Jaleel, the Thrill McLaughlin. And if you particularly don't like one of those legs, you truly hate them, swap that out for the James Cook alt over on rushing and ask yourself, How greedy do you want to be? In my opinion, you're going to be very greedy, as you always are, because that's why you roam the seas looking for treasure. You're the parlay pirates, and that's why I put that up there in a testament to you and who you are as an uncivilized peoples. Now, it's favor time. I have a lot of favors. The first, if you want to thank Josh for all that work that he did with baseball and trying to get you all those sniffs and being on the Patreon, he texted me before. He has a same game parlay up on Bet365. So if you have Bet365, I know not every state has, but if you have it, just throw $1 on it. He gets, let's just call it credit and respect, and they will ask him to do it again. So if you want to do Josh a favor and you want the gambling gods to smile down on you, because, oh, look, they do favors. Now we'll do them a favor, and we'll just get Jaleel McLaughlin that 4th reception. If you can take this David Montgomery same game parlay that you see right there, either on the front page, just put $1 on it, do Josh that favor, and then the gambling gods, they'll smile down on you because it's like, okay, you do him a favor. They need that one last Jaleel McLaughlin catch. Okay, well, give him that catch, and then they'll pull some angels in the outfield type stuff. And what kind of favors can you do for me? You can do the classics. You know what those favors are. Number one, which is actually, you remember that in high school when well, it's just a 3-question test, but the questions had like an A, B, C, D. I despise that. No. There's 36 questions rolled into 3. So now I'm going to do that with favors. Number one, like, comment, subscribe. That's 3 favors. Like this video, comment nice things, not nice things, or I don't know, let people know what you like. Maybe if you want to vary some of the same game parlays, maybe your career is going to start like it all started with that one comment I left on Andy's YouTube video that I wasn't going to, but then he kind of convinced me that the sports betting gods, they look at those small things, and if I don't do a favor for a sports bettor, then the sports betting gods aren't going to do a favor for me. And then I own the Bellagio. It's me. Me and Terry Benedict are co-owners of the Bellagio. So do that. Subscribe to the channel. As you see, no rhyme and reason as to when any of these videos come out. It could be 3 in the morning. It could be 3 in the morning a video comes out. So click the notifications so you know when they do come out. And then I should have led with this. If you want these picks, oh my God, these numbers aren't at that right now. When I checked, I posted them on the Patreon. You guys will get the picks there first. I obviously have to make these videos, take time, edit, do all this stuff. So if you want those sniffs when they come out and to chat with the other sniffers, that's all over on the Patreon. So hopefully I see you there. If not, I'll see you for some Monday Night Football sniffs. Definitely looking forward to it. I'll talk to you then. Good luck on opening Sunday. Take it easy.